Hi there, Sarah Rose here, and welcome to the Manifest the Life You Love Masterclass. I'm very excited to have you here with me today. We're going to go ahead and get started. So go ahead and turn off any distractions. You're just going to want to shut down your Facebook, your social media, close down your email. Tell everybody that's in your house or wherever you're watching this that you're just going to be busy for about 25 minutes focusing on this material because it's pretty subtle information, and if you're not focusing or paying attention, it could likely just go right over your head. So I really want you to tune into the information, and my goal is to keep it less than 25 minutes. So this is a mini training. Go ahead and turn your ringer off and just focus in. It's a 3-part video training, and this is going to be part 1. But overall, the training, what it's going to cover is a formula that I'm going to share with you that's really going to help you 10x your manifesting abilities and eliminate the need for frustration or struggle in the process. Plus, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the reasons your manifestations are not happening yet, and that's going to be in the 3rd training. So again, it's a 3-part training. Today's part 1. Tomorrow you'll get part 2. And then the next day you'll get part 3. And at the end of the 3rd training, I have a real special bonus for you. So I'm just giving you a heads up about that. After I share the 7th pillar with you, which is crucial, then I'll share with you the special bonus as well as a token of appreciation for showing up here with me today. So you're in the right place if you can say you want to create an extraordinary life by design and not leave it to chance anymore. Or you want to harness universal spiritual laws in a practical way to better your life. This is what I refer to as a spiritual pragmatist, because we're all spiritual beings having this physical experience, and so we have these universal laws. Many of you are probably aware of the law of attraction, but there are many more, and when you work with them in a practical way, you can start to see tangible results. But that's the whole point, is to sort of use these spiritual laws in a way where you can see them working for you in your physical reality, and they make practical use for you. So that's what this training is all about, and I'm going to be sharing you a step-by-step formula that you can follow. I call this the 7-pillar formula to manifesting, and it's going to help you make massive shifts in what you're manifesting. And these 7 pillars, they build on each other, but even if you only begin to master one of these 7 pillars, you're going to start to see results as early as today. So even the next few days, over the course of these 3 days, plant that intention for yourself, because you will start to see results as early as today if you start to work with the pillars that I'm about to share with you, even if you only master one of them. So before I get started real quick, I'm just going to share who I am and why I'm teaching this course. Okay, so I can say that my journey into sort of manifesting and learning this process started probably 2012, 2013, and I've been working this process for several years. And I can say I'm not coming to you from a place where I've had this like silver spoon handed to me and now I'm manifesting all these great things in my life. I've come from a place where I've had to learn to overcome lots of different struggle, lots of different limited belief patterns, and lots of different fear-based decisions. I grew up in a household that was dysfunctional at best a lot of times, with a father who was alcoholic and verbally and physically abusive, and so that weighed huge on me through my early adult years, and I literally carried resentment inside, and anger and frustration and guilt and shame, because when you're little and things like that are happening to you, you have no other option but to think that it's happening because you're not good enough or because you're not lovable and things like that. So I've had to overcome some huge limited beliefs, and which were affecting my health and my emotional state, my physical health, my emotional health, my mental health, everything. I went through a stage where I was making myself sick physically. I dealt with many food allergies. I think I had 28 food allergies at one point. I couldn't even go to holiday dinners because I had such random bouts of IBS that on Thanksgiving dinner I had to take Imodium just to be able to make it through a meal, because my stomach and my intestines were so shot from the stress and from the, the SIBO and the candida and the things that sort of were eating away at my intestinal lining. Long story short, leaky gut syndrome, things like that. I had to heal myself from that. I had to heal myself from adrenal fatigue. I had to heal myself from hormone imbalance. It finally landed me in the emergency room with pneumonia at one point, because my immune system was so shot that I just kept getting flu after flu after flu, until finally I had pneumonia. And I was like, okay, I really got to start to figure out what's going on with me. From the outside looking in, I looked like I probably had everything together. People would always think, oh, she's pretty enough, or she's, capable enough, or she's smart enough, or this or that, which I was. Many of those things, but at the same time, inside, I was hitting a happiness ceiling. I was reaching a point in my life at a very early age, thank God, where I was realizing that, hey, there's more out there, and it doesn't have to be a struggle, and it doesn't have to be frustrating, and I can take my power back, and I can heal myself physically, and I can come into balance emotionally, and I can be calm, cool, and collected mentally, and I can evolve on a spiritual level as well. And that's what started to happen to me in 2013, and I eventually got into yoga training and became a certified yoga teacher and a Reiki master, and got into energy medicine, and just started to realize that all of these other things outside of myself, even though yoga and Reiki energy are really good things for you, as far as I believe, they were still outside of me. I was still seeking things outside of myself to help me. And it wasn't until I really turned my attention inward and started focusing on a process from the inside out to heal from the inside out that my life really began to shift. And I did that by aligning myself with spiritual principles, which I'm going to share with you in this training. And so I went from being an overworked perfectionist, struggling to always get ahead, always chasing the dollar, physically sick, emotionally drained, fatigued, tired, angry and resentful, and not even knowing necessarily, at some points I didn't even have maybe $300 to my name. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. I went through all of that. I've went through bankruptcy, I've went through foreclosures, I've went through all of that, and dealing with the death of my father as well in the midst of all this. So what I call a perfect storm happened to me, where it really woke me up. And now I've been able to turn that around because I've worked with this process. I've worked with it habitually, and I've worked with it intentionally. And this is where the 7-pillar formula came from. And now I am able to travel. I'm able to eat the healthiest foods. I have the healthiest body, way healthier than I ever was back in my 20s. I am now, rock solid physically, emotionally, mentally, and I'm on an amazing spiritual journey. And I'm able to take time off in the middle of the day to meditate and do my grocery shopping in the middle of the day when everybody else is working, because I'm able to manage my business in a healthy way and put myself first and have healthy boundaries and start to see the world and just do things that are really in line with my soul. And that's why I want to share this process with you, because manifesting, first and foremost, you're not going to hear this from a lot of other teachers, which is what sort of sets me apart with what you're going to hear on this training, because I will tell you firsthand, manifesting it's not wishful thinking, it's not luck, it's not just repeating affirmations, it's not manipulating outside circumstances to try to get your way. These are all ego tendencies. Manipulating outside circumstances is an ego tendency. And repeating affirmations can be very powerful if you're coming from the right essence, and I'm going to get into that. Otherwise, they could be doing you more harm than good. So manifesting is not those things, but manifesting is an inside job. It is a complete inside job because your vibration is already high. It's just a matter of getting the blocks out of the way. And I'm going to get partly into that in this training, but the main thing is the 7-pillar formula is going to give you the steps to take to really start to manifest, but you're going to hit some roadblocks. You're going to see some of your obstacles, some of those things that are popping up into your experience that are blocking your abundance. And so it's just as much about following a formula that's in line with spiritual laws as it is removing the blocks to your abundance, and that requires an inside job. So, as it is on the inside, so shall it be on the outside. Your outside world corresponds with the thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and feelings you hold on the inside. This is the spiritual law of correspondence. So before we get started, though, I'm going to share with you just a couple of concepts. I just touched on it briefly a second ago when I mentioned your vibration, and I really want you to be able to wrap your head around this. This is one of my aha moments when I started on my journey, so maybe it will resonate with you. Maybe you're already there and you're in acceptance of this, but if not, I ask you to suspend your disbelief for this training and just realize or be open to the possibility that everything in this universe is energy. And because everything is energy, energy is never created nor destroyed, right? And you can't just separate energy. You can't just draw a line and have energy on one side of the line and then a different energy on the other side of the line. Energy is all connected. And so everything is energy. Your energy, I'm energy. The things that you desire in your life are all energy. And there's really no separation between any of it on an energetic level. So that's the first concept. And because you are energy, even if you take your cells in a petri dish and you zoom in on the most subatomic level, you're going to see that your cells are vibrating in and out of you're vibrating at a very high frequency in and out of existence. You're going to see that your subatomic particles have been it's proven that they appear to jump in and out of existence at a very, very high frequency. So because you're energy, you're also vibrating at a certain frequency. And so I want you to be able to sort of wrap your head around that and keep that in the back of your head too as we're starting to go through some of these pillars. So with that said, I'm going to move on to pillar 1. And you can take notes if you'd like, but you'll also be able to watch this again if you want to. But feel free to take notes on anything that jumps out at you, anything that resonates with you. If you have an aha moment, you'll know what resonates with you. So feel free to take notes. And I'm going to move through the material pretty quick though, because I am going to try to cap this at 30 minutes or less. So pillar 1 is focused awareness. Now, focused awareness means obviously exactly what it states, that you become aware. Now, there's several different ways to do this, but you can't change something you're not aware of in the first place, right? So it becomes the basis, the foundation for all the other pillars. And even if you only master this one pillar, like I said, all of these pillars will work individually for you as well, even if you don't work through the formula, but they're all going to build on each other. But first you have to become aware. If you're not aware, you're operating on autopilot. Until you are conscious about what you are creating by default. So this is very much about living a more conscious lifestyle. And when I say you're creating by default, I'm saying you're creating by your conditioned thoughts, perceptions, and beliefs. Because remember, the law of correspondence, states your inner reality basically is going to reflect out and create your outer reality. And we're going to go into that later in pillar 3 as well. On how that also looks from more of a scientific level. But your thoughts, perceptions, and beliefs create your outer reality. And until you're operating from a conscious standpoint on those, you're operating from what you've always been conditioned to believe and think. And those perceptions, thoughts, and beliefs were mainly acquired through society in general, society conditioning, and early childhood. Because when you're little, up until the age of 7, according to Bruce Lipton in The Biology of Belief, you're walking around basically in a theta brainwave state, which is the same brainwave state you're in when you're in deep sleep or hypnosis. And before you really have an ego built up to really separate or have any boundaries of what you want to filter, how you want to filter your environment, you're pretty much absorbing everything like a sponge, right? That's why little kids, if they're around a second language when they're growing up, when they're little, they can easily be bilingual. They're just absorbing it like a sponge, where if you give the same material to someone that's like 18 or at high school or college level, it'll take them years to master a language. But when you're younger, you can literally just pick it up like that. So whatever's happening when you're younger, your perceptions and your beliefs, you're absorbing those on an unconscious level. And that's a lot of what you're defaulting to until you make the process conscious by becoming more aware. So this is really the golden rule of manifesting. This is manifesting 101. What you focus on expands. You may have heard the saying, energy flows where your attention goes. So you really have to think that what you're focusing on is expanding in your life. And it doesn't matter if what you're focusing on is good, what you perceive to be good, or if you're focusing on something that you perceive to be bad. So worry is a form of focus. So you could be worrying about something, you're focusing on it, or you could be focusing on something that you want versus something that you don't want. And you really have to be able to shift your focus to things that you want. If you're dwelling on anything that you don't want for any experience of time, or for any period of time, you are you're magnifying that experience in your life. So what you focus on expands. And it doesn't matter whether it's on the positive side of the spectrum or the negative side of the spectrum. It doesn't matter. What you're focusing on expands, and that is 101 manifesting. So you have to learn to focus like a laser beam with greater awareness. And you have to be able to disregard the rest and let it go. And this is a skill that takes practice, and you have to be able to do it habitually. It's not going to necessarily make the hugest results if you're just doing it once in a while. This requires, when you're focused and you're aware, it's keeping you in the present moment. So when you're in the present moment, all you have is right now. When you're thinking a thought of a past moment, you're not in the present moment anymore. Now you're in the past. If you're thinking a thought about something that just happened, or if you're trying to figure out how to do something in the future, or worry about something happening in the future, you're bringing yourself out of the present moment. But when you're in the present, you're not thinking about past or future. You're just in the now. And that is what focused awareness will bring you in. It'll bring you into that conscious present moment of now, where you have power, where you can make decisions. Other than that, your mind is wandering off into the past or into the future. And here's just a little tip to instantly raise your vibration, because everybody always asks me this question. And there's no magic tricks, there's no magic potion. There's, everybody wants to know if, should I meditate with crystals? Should I, what should I do with essential oils? There's all these other things, and you're looking outside yourself to raise your vibration, which these things can help, right? But shifting your focus to something that you appreciate, your inner focus, is the simplest and easiest way to raise your vibration. Shifting your focus to something that you appreciate will instantly raise your vibration, and you can feel it. If you're in a situation where you're not, something is displeasing to you, and you can tell you're just in a low vibe energy, and you shift your focus to something that you appreciate and something that you're really grateful for, and I would say appreciate is even a step above grateful, because it's just pure appreciation, you'll instantly feel your vibration raise. You'll feel lighter. And that's the simplest way to do it. And that's just a little tip, because manifesting is a lot about increasing your frequency, or at least removing the blocks to your frequency, which is already high. Whatever you focus on and give your attention to will manifest. This is the spiritual law of attention. So we're moving on to pillar 2. And this is absolute clarity. You have to get clear on what you desire. Awareness breeds clarity. That's one of the reasons you want to bring things into your conscious awareness, because then you can begin to cultivate clarity. Clarity gives you the ability to make choices and decisions. So down the road, we're going to get into the action-oriented pillars, some of the more action-oriented ones. But right now, we're working a lot of our inner game, okay? So you want to get clear on your desire, and you don't want to be wishy-washy with the universe. And that requires awareness, and then you can get clear. So clarity builds on awareness. Now, you want to be specific about what it is that you want to manifest in your life. And here's the tricky part, though. You also have to be open to the infinite possibilities in which your manifestation is going to come to you. So the universe has so many different options that are beyond your area, beyond your perception of what you believe is possible, most likely. So clarity involves, you get clear and then you make a decision, a declaration to yourself and the universe. This is not the same as a hope or a wish. It is a clear-cut bold decision. You make a decision and boom, you're ready, you're moving forward, but at the same time, you're staying open to how it's going to come to you, open to endless, infinite possibility. Okay, remember, the universe is energy, your energy. Everything that you want or desire is energy, and there's no separation really. So you have to be open to how everything's going to reformulate to your new clarity and to your new desires and your new intention and everything. And you have to be open to how that's going to come to you. But once you get clear, you make a decision, a bold decision. And that's the reason why you're cultivating this clarity. Otherwise, you're just on autopilot, again, reacting from your default knee-jerk reactions and not really taking into account what it is you truly want. You're not really clear on that. You're just sort of reacting to things in your environment. So take a moment and just think about what it is you truly desire. Just one thing. I mean, you may desire many things, I'm sure, but just think about, like, what's the first thing that pops into your head? What do you truly desire? Take some time to really think about that, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't even don't even ask themselves this question. This is huge. What do you truly desire? Write it down in your notebook if you're taking notes. When you are crystal clear about what you desire, the universe picks up your message and responds accordingly. Trust me, you're not just watching this class, taking notes, and writing down what it is you truly desire. The universe is responding as we speak. I don't know if you can feel that. I don't know if you're getting chills of confirmation. I don't know if you're getting a sense of inner hope or inner eagerness. But if you are, that's your intuition speaking to you. That's spirit speaking to you. That tells you you're on the right path. The universe is responding, and you're not listening to this by accident. You're listening to this for a reason. But this is the spiritual law of clarity. So you have to get clear after you bring yourself into focused awareness and you start to focus on what you want. You make a clear declaration and bold decision of what you want. Now we're going to move on to the third pillar. But first, go ahead and post your answer in the chat box below. Share it. Put it out there into the universe. There's no reason to keep it to yourself. What do you want to manifest in your life? Declare it. Make a bold decision. Post your comment below. Keeping it to yourself because your fear of it sounding silly, or your fear of you not measuring up to it, or who am I to want this? Who am I to declare this for myself in my life? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who are you not, to do these? You have to be able to step boldly into a decision without fear. So go ahead and put out to the universe in your chat box for everybody else to see what it is you truly want to manifest in your life. If you can just think of one thing that would really move the needle for you in any area of your life right now, what would it be? Go ahead and put that in the chat box below. And now we're going to move on to pillar 3, which is intention. Intention is the underlying motivation driving your action and aligning with your willpower. So it's like the motor, the engine in the car. It's the driving force of your willpower. And intention is what the universe pays attention to. And you can't fake intention. Intention is something that you know the intentions behind your actions. And two different people can take the same action but operate from two separate intentions. And so the thing that you want to focus on is coming from a heart-centered, pure intention versus an ego-centered intention. Okay, so for example, a person can, let's say, donate to charity, for example. That's their action. And they can be doing it with the intention of helping, supporting, or just an act of kindness that's for the highest good. And that's one intention. Another person can make the exact same donation, but be coming from a place of ego-centeredness, where maybe they're more concerned about looking good as a pillar of the community, maybe one-upping their other business partners, or the prestige that comes with being a big donor for a charity, something along those lines. Those are two very different intentions for the same action, and the universe knows the difference, and you You can't sort of trick the universe. And the only person that knows the driving intentions behind your actions is you and the universe that's paying attention to. So obviously you don't want to align your intentions with malicious intent. And I don't believe that, you'd even be on this masterclass if that were the case. But you just want to look at your intentions and ask, are they coming from a pure place? Are they coming from either a heart-centered place or a place of ego? And so I'm going to share with you a couple of intentions, one that's going to help you get out of your own way, and the other one is going to help you align with the highest intention that you possibly can so that you're in really true alignment with spiritual laws and principles. So that intention is the highest and greatest good for all involved. So you'll want to check in with yourself. Are your intentions really for the highest and greatest good for all involved, or are they sort of, sometimes self-centered where you're looking out for your best interest, for, numero uno, and making sure you get your piece of the pie and you get what's coming to you and you're more concerned with me and I? Or are they coming from the highest and greatest good for all involved? Okay, so we definitely run into this when we're dealing with other people. So in the area of relationships or career and things like that, are your intentions pure? Are they for the highest and greatest good for all involved? If they're not, then you'll want to shift into that vibration, because that's definitely a higher vibration that puts you in line with spiritual truths and manifesting at the highest level. And your manifestation efforts will remove ego from the equation when you operate from this intention, because ego is all about what's in it for me. And when you're operating what's in it for everyone, and that's your concern, you're no longer operating from ego, and that makes a huge difference. So that's something that you're going to want to consider and ask yourself. The other intention is you don't want to put a cap or a ceiling on what you're bringing to yourself, what you're trying to attract, because the universe has infinite possibilities in order to manifest what it is that you really want in a way that could totally blow your mind. You have such a more pigeonholed experience or a pigeonholed perception than what the universe has, and rightly so, because we don't have the full picture. We don't get the big picture. We get pieces and glimpses of a picture. All right, it's like if you're looking at a puzzle and you have all of these puzzle pieces, we get to see like one or two puzzle pieces off over here in the corner, maybe on the the corner. The universe has the entire puzzle piece. It's entirely put together. So it's like when you're looking at a puzzle piece and you see one piece and it doesn't match up with anything that you've already done, and it's like, I don't know what's going on with this piece, so you set it off to the side, and then you work on this puzzle for days or weeks, and then finally that one piece comes together and it fits and it makes sense and it creates the full puzzle. That piece always existed, but you never saw the connection between where you're at now with the little pieces you're working on in the corner and that piece, okay? So the universe has the full picture. You have pieces of the puzzle, and so you have to be willing to open up to allowing something even better than what you've expected for yourself. So don't cap your intentions. Always make your intentions for this or something better. The sky is not the limit. The sky is just what you can see easily. Okay, there's the universe has infinite sight, infinite perception, infinite wisdom, infinite capabilities. So you don't want to cap yourself. So those are the two intentions that I would recommend always to align with. And then we touched on this before, you want to stay flexible. So you set your intention, and then you stay flexible with how it transpires and how it unfolds for you, again, because you don't see the full picture, and the universe does. So they have much bigger plans for you. Your soul has much bigger plans for you than what you can wrap your head around at that at any given point. And sometimes things work out in your best interest, and they weren't even what you had planned or what you had wanted. They still tend to work out. Have you ever had that happen to you, where something that you didn't even necessarily know that you wanted pops into your experience, and then it's exactly what you need? Okay, that's because the universe is always working on your behalf. It always has your back. And the more you work with this process, and the more you work with this pillar formula, the more you're going to have trust in that, and the more you're going to be able to let go and allow it to work for you. And that's when you're releasing control, and you're releasing trying to control, how things come to you. And that's when it becomes a state of ease, when you're manifesting, and you remove struggle and frustration. Struggle and frustration are a clear-cut sign that you're trying to control something. That's ego. That's ego trying to control the outcome of how something's going to come to you, when, by whom, in what manner. All of those details are none of your concern. You have to focus on clarity, making bold decisions on what you truly want for yourself, staying focused and staying aware and focusing on what you want throughout the process, and planting pure intentions. That's your side of the street, so clean up your side of the street. The universe is going to take care of the rest for you. So how many times have you heard this? You're watching interviews with some of the most, influential people, some of the most successful people on top of their game, and they say, never in a million years would I have imagined this, or this is beyond my wildest dreams. I never could have guessed this would ever happen to me. Okay, this does not mean that they didn't have awareness and they weren't focused and they didn't have a dream or they didn't have a desire and they didn't make a clear-cut, bold decision based out of clarity for themselves. It's not to say that they didn't do that and that they didn't operate on pure intent. It just means that once they got to that point, they were willing or able to get out of their own way and let it transpire. They let go some of that control and they followed the synchronicities and something bigger and better that came along than they could have ever imagined. Okay, so you want to remember that and not cap yourself, and you want to check in with yourself. Are your intentions truly for the highest good for all involved? And so in any area of your life, you can apply this. Check in with that. Whether you're trying to manifest things regarding relationships or career or abundance, are you in a pure place with your intentions? Are you operating from the highest intent? And that's truly where you want to be operating from if you want to manifest the highest things in your life. You got to be operating from a high vibration, and that is ultimately removing ego and moving into a more heart-centered place. Intentions release the universal force that back your desire. They are the driving force behind your actions, words, and deeds. This is a spiritual law of intention. Now, that wraps up today's training. That was pillars 1 through 3. As I said, this formula is going to build on itself. And so in the next training that you're going to receive in your email, you're going to get pillars 4 through 6. So that's the second training. This is the bulk of the action-oriented training where you're actually going to receive techniques that you can apply. And so it's very important to attend this next training so you can get pillars 4 through 6. And I'd love to hear your comments about today's training for pillars 1 through 3. So if you have any feedback or if one of these pillars really resonates with you, feel free to post your comments below. I'd love to hear from you. When you post your comments, you can also, post this on your Facebook wall as well and tag your friends. So please, if you're getting any value out of this, just consider sharing this on your Facebook wall and tagging some of your friends because, hey, this is free information and I think it's valuable. If you think it's valuable too, the more the merrier. I'd love to get the message out. So consider doing that, and I love all your comments below. I'll be responding to a lot of them personally, so if you have any questions about the training so far, please post your questions below as well. And don't forget then to tune in for the next training, and also that there is a third training with a special bonus, and that's going to be delivered to your inbox here as well. The 7th pillar is what I'm going to be talking about on the third training, and that is very important because without the 7th pillar, without implementing that technique, you could literally be doing more harm than good with some of your manifesting efforts, and your manifesting efforts will feel like a struggle. So you definitely want to tune in to watch and learn about pillar 7, and again get that special bonus at the end of that training. So I hope this training finds you well, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Namaste.